What's going on, brothers? What's going on? It's your dude, Mr. International Passport, here again for yet another Future Classic live stream. First and foremost, though, press A1 in the live stream chat if you can hear me loud and clear. Mayday, check 1 2, check 1 2. Donald, how's my audio as we're live streaming right now? Is it good?
It is good. I can hear you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, bro. Who else here is here in the building? Let me know. Type in 1 in the live stream chat if my audio is good. Just checking my lighting and the production quality around me. Awesome. Raphael, thank you, bro. Baseball clips. So let's get straight into it, okay? So special announcements first. As you come in the stream, please like the stream. Likes are very important to make sure that the video reaches other brothers in this Passport Bro space. Aside from that, there will be a Patreon version of this stream that'll be coming in the next coming days or week. Okay, so look out for that. Russia. Okay, and aside from that, please, again, if you're interested in IT support, you can book a consultation with me via the Calendly link in the description box below. Join a Patreon for intel on other activities of foreign women in the bedroom. Okay, and of course, copper merch, get a t-shirt. That'd be greatly appreciated. So let's get straight into it, okay? In this live stream, okay, we shall be speaking about Russia. And I have a very special guest here called Mr. Donald. How you doing, Donald? You good?
Everything's good, IP. Thank you for having me again today.
Awesome, brother. Donald, we appreciate your delivery, your enthusiasm, your energy. So it's a pleasure, bro. Honestly, it's a pleasure. So, Donald, Russia, okay? We know your background, Donald, but I'd love to know what led up for you going into Russia in the first place out of all countries in the world, bro. Break it down for me.
Well, of course, a lot of the people who've seen me here before, you guys know my background of how I got over here to Eastern Europe and how I was, me having a home base in Ukraine. And I would take time out to go to other countries to either live for 3 months as long as my visa, which would be like a 3-month visa process. So I would go to bordering countries and I would live there for about 3 months. At the same time, keep my apartment in the Ukraine. What led me to Russia was simply, again, it's a country that borders Ukraine, and it made sense because, of course, I had people that I was talking to over there on the other side. So being that you're this close to Russia, I speak to Russian people. I have a basic language of Russian language here in Ukraine. And being that it was right next door, it only made sense for me to go over there originally to see particularly females. So Russia has a different process when it comes to the visa, when getting a visa for Russia. So these other countries, usually you can go there for about 3 months. Russia, they don't do that. They don't play that. They have a different visa process where you have to give them a lot of information, your background information, and things of that nature. And then they offer you like a 30-day period or 60-day based on, or more based on if you have a job lined up or something like that. Being that I was only going over there to date and also to just, like a tourist, basically, I wasn't able to stay the full 3 months. And so I would just go over there for 30-day periods. So I would get a visa and I would split it up. I'd split it up between two different parts of Russia. I would split it up between Crimea once they took over Crimea, and I would split it up to Moscow. So that's what led me to going over there to Russia. I would just split up my visa of 2 weeks in Moscow and 2 weeks in Crimea. So that way I covered all of this part of Russia, and then I covered the part that they took over from Ukraine as well. So it was just an easy process by being the mother country, the bordering country, the number one country over here, being that it's Russia. It only made sense for me to start going over there. So early, around 2013, 14, I started going over to Russia and spending time there, 30 days at a time.
Amazing, brother, amazing. So that means you have a lot of history with Russia. Awesome, bro. Awesome. Mm-hmm. So, brother, I'm guessing when it comes to Russia, right, Moscow is your main spot, right?
Moscow is my second spot. I spent a lot of time in Crimea, but I'd say Moscow is my biggest city that I go to. I'm not in St. Petersburg. Sometimes I am, but that's neither here nor there. But I mainly go to Moscow.
Awesome, brother. So now break down for me accommodation-wise. Like, do you book a hotel? Do you book an Uber while you're out there in Russia? Break it down for me, bro.
So I always book a flat. Which is like, I learned that from being in Ukraine and also to go into neighboring countries, Poland, Moldova. you always just rent a flat. It's a very easy process. I have rented a hotel once when I was in Russia, only because I locked myself out of the. I didn't get the key to my flat, and that was when I was telling you on the Patreon when I met the two girls who gave me their number, and they helped me get into the apartment. But that was the only time I stayed in the hotel for like 4 or 5 days waiting on the keys to my flat. But I usually do a flat. I always do a flat when I travel to these countries. I told you guys before. I keep the same process in Russia. I'll find an apartment, and what they'll do in your visa process, you may not have that apartment located. So what I did is I used a hotel in the visa. So they want to know exactly where you're going to be, where you're going to stay, and like the main places that you're going to be at. So you have to put that in your visa. So that's not a problem for me. I just jotted down an hotel, the exact hotel that I tied to the visa. Then I jotted down, places that I might visit. But once I got there, I'm doing my own apartment. I do my own apartment. I find the apartment that I'm going to stay at. I stay there for 2 weeks. Um, and I use that as like my home base, like, before I go to gym and store and stuff like that. I always do apartment. Uber, the same thing. Here they may have like Bolt or Uber, but yeah, I always use, I don't use the public transportations if if you're asking me that question. More like the bus or the subway. I will use a taxi.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. So, brother, now, what's your advice for brothers who want to go Russia for the first time? Is that book a hotel? Is that book Airbnb or book a private flat? Break it down for us, brother.
Okay, so for you first time guys that are going to Russia, I would say this. Number one, you want to make sure that you guys are cognizant of your behaviors. So some of these Eastern European countries, I've given you guys a very relaxed atmosphere. The country is very relaxed, meaning that the laws, borders, they were very relaxed. You could sort of will and deal with them. The police were very relaxed. And it just seems like you can relax as an expat or as a traveler or a tourist or a passport bro. You can sort of relax in these areas. Not saying that you can't relax in Russia. I'm just saying that when you get to Russia, you want to make sure that you're following the rules, like as if you're in the West. Okay, do not bring drugs. Do not be over aggressive. Do not be loud. Like some of the things that you've seen people get away with in the West. You may not want to carry that over in Russia. So I'll say that. Okay. But once you do get over to Russia, it's just like any other place. So yeah, you can get a hotel. I usually, if you're gonna stay there for the 30 days, I usually get an apartment because that way you're amongst the people. You get a key, you get a chance to smell the apartment, walk in the apartment, hit the TV, take a hot shower. You're passing by other people who live in those apartments who've been living there for years. Like, so you may, so that part of the culture is very important. It's been important to me throughout all my travels. Even when I'm in Egypt, I don't like to stay on the resort for 2 weeks. I'll go get an apartment inside the city. So that way, in Turkey as well, I get it. So that way that you sort of get the feel of the country like completely. So for you guys, yeah, you guys are comfortable with Airbnb. You may have the budget for Airbnb, then do that. Okay. I always tell guys don't do the Airbnb thing because you can get cheaper apartments and better for a lesser price. But you want to stay in the center, just you can get an apartment. The hotel is fine. A lot of expats stay in the hotels. The reason I don't do the hotels is because in Russia they do pay attention to who comes to their country. Don't think that they're not. It's not that they're watching you, but they do pay attention to who comes to the country. You're gonna have to let them know your background. I did let them know my background. I had no problem with that. I put in the fact that my background. My background check of me being in prison. Like I put that in there into the visa process. I also took pictures and I also sent pictures of me being in Crimea before they took over the country. And I sent those pictures along with my visa process to let them know that I've been in their country and I've been in Ukraine and I've been in Moldova. Like I had some facts. Of course, they go through your visa. So they were looking at all that. The most important thing they were worried about, I think, is that if I had military experience, because that would put me like in a category of like espionage. So I say all this to say to you guys that when I did go over there in Moscow, when I'm in Crimea, I live amongst the people. I go to the gym. I do basic things. So if someone is watching me, I'm just dating women. I'm just chilling because they do watch you. Okay. So if you guys have any kind of military background and stuff, just understand that once you get your visa process, it's just think that you might be being watched. if you have military background, if you come from a Western country and you've never been there before, if you've never been to Eastern European countries, think of it like that. Now, in the West, it's like big brothers watching you. You know they are. Over here, you don't know they're watching you. You just want to carry yourself like that. Go out to eat, go to the gym, get your an apartment, date, but just act like that at any point. If you mess up, if you're acting out of accordance, if you're not, if you're doing anything flaky like what we do in the West, they got something for you in Russia. And I want you guys to sort of understand that because it's just a little bit different. I've been over here for a long time. I know how the countries are. I know who's relaxed and who isn't. So I tell you guys, yeah, get a flat because you can enjoy the culture more. Because if you're at a hotel, there's probably people there watching the hotels, if that makes any sense. If you get a flat, then it's easy because you can also bring people home. You can bring company home. You don't have to worry about, the desk and everybody knowing your comings and goings. If you're that kind of busy man, you may not be a busy man. You might be busy in a different way up in your flat by yourself every night. But if you're a busy man, like some of us, then you want to be able to have keys to your own flat. You want to be able to pull out your own dishes because you might not like what you see when you go out. So when you're whipping up, you go to the store, the magazine, and you pick out the stuff that you like. You can come home and whip it up for the new company you met, whether that be a couple of females or a new guy friends, or a couple of friends or whatever, or just for your own self. So I say an apartment because you have all those amenities. You may not have all those amenities in a hotel. You can be frying up stuff and got fish hanging. Some of y'all come from some crazy places, so they don't want no raccoons hanging, inside the room. But you can do that at your flat, So I say get a flat because you get the culture. You sit there, you got their beds, it's fully furnished. You got their TVs. You got, you can listen to music. You can sort of get the feel a bit in the country, and at the same time feel at home. If that makes any sense to you, travelers, potential travelers.
Facts. Thank you, brother. Thank you. So, brother, now, go on, bro. Go on.
No, go ahead.
Oh, so, brother, so in regards to Russia, right? Since you've been there, you've spent some time there. From your observations, who runs the country of Russia? Is it Russians, white Russians, or is it the West in the background, or who's in control? Who's in power there, brother? Obviously, but try and keep it obviously coded if you can, if it's too sensitive. But who actually runs that country, brother? Who's in power? The white Russians?
Putin, Russian.
Okay. Okay.
Next
Thank you,
question.
bro. So next question for you, brother, is so you being a Western black man, brother, right? How were you treated there in Russia?
Respectfully. I carry myself respectfully. I'm treated respectfully. I get a lot of love from the babushkas. I get a lot of love from, guys want to know who I am. If I've done military, the boxer. No, I don't know boxer, Like, I get that because they have lots of boxing. Boxing is big in Eastern Europe. Boxing is very big in Russia. Boxing is very big. So when people get off the plane or people amongst the people, they think you're a sports star. You've played some football, Eastern European, maybe you come over for that. They're gonna people initially, they look at you and then they think that, they either think you're probably a student or they think that you're there for sports. And then they, oh, businessmen. Okay. I'm here for business. So it's just, it's, I don't never feel racism, you know, I'm from Texas originally. I'm from the South, so I understand what racism looks and feels like, and that's something that you don't get when you're in Russia. There's been countless of people that get so much love in Russia. Roy Jones is one of them. It's like other MMA fighters. It's like, man, when I got to Russia, like, man, I could walk around at nighttime. It was different. I felt like that. There was no danger. Like you don't feel that. So as a black guy, I'm like, this is just free reign. This is a matter. I can just focus on, you know, living my life and learning the language and dating, and I don't have to focus on any kind of negativity. Like, the babushkas, them, when I go to get meat or pork or chicken, they're happy with a big smile. What do you want? And then they're waiting for me to spit the ruski to ask for some kurisa, some chicken. Some, it's just like that. That's just something that you get across the board. Like lots of handshakes. Remember, gentlemen, when I go to these places, I have a social arena, a social life because I have the triangle. So I'm always at my flat. If I'm not at my flat, I'm at the gym. So I'll make sure that in that time, yeah, you're meeting people that are are giving you respect, you know. So yes, racism is not something that you feel negativity as a black man. You're not gonna feel that at all. If you feel that in the West, it's like it goes away once you walk through the airport of Moscow. You're gonna be
Wow,
looking for it.
interesting, brother.
You're gonna be looking for it. Like sometimes you guys got to catch yourself looking for it. You'll be looking for it, and you're like, you know, this is strange. Like the love that I get, and it's gonna feel like love because you don't get that kind of reaction in the West.
Damn. Wow. So, brother, now in terms of business opportunities and investments, right, in Russia, as passport bros, is there any opportunities for business and investments in Russia to take advantage of, brother?
I keep that to a minimum, gentlemen. I have
Mm,
zero investments in Crimea or Moscow. Now, for the expats that I know who are married, they have investments there. They have vartitas or apartments, excuse me. They have apartments there. You know, they have investments there. But I'm saying is for me personally, over the years, I've never bought an apartment there. It's been more so here, Ukraine, Moldova, like the places that I've had free reign to go back and forth and spend so much time in. You know, the only way you would have an investment in Russia is if you have your visa, what, 6 months to a year or, you know, more. I mean, politics aside, if you're not there long enough to you know have the right investments to look at the real estate or to look at oil, to look at whatever you want to look at, energy, you know, you have to be there for 6 months to a year longer, right? So if you're not that long, so I don't see why anybody would be invested in unless you have a family there. So only the expats I know have families, they have investments there. And I don't speak to them about their investments, the ups and downs of Russia.
okay. Awesome, bro. So, brother, when it comes to Russian people, right? How are Russian people like, brother? Are they on average introverts? Are they on average extroverts? Are they not nice people, or are they kind people? Break it down for me, bro. Russian people.
Before I answer that question, you know, a
Mm,
lot of people, without going too deep, a lot of people with a lot of money lost their money in Russia. So a lot of people have tried to take their money out of Russia, you know, throughout all of this political turmoil. So it's easy to lose your money too, to have it just taken from you, your business and everything, right? It's almost like China. It's easy for them to just take over your company, take over your business, and strip you of everything, lock you up for whatever reason. So not that that happens to everyday people like us when it comes to investing over there. It's just that's just something that you have to be aware of when you understand what's going on in Russia. You wouldn't be quick to go over there and place your investments, you know, on our scale. Maybe on our scale, it's a lot easier because we can be husbands. You know, we can be married to a Russian woman. I know plenty of guys that are there now married to a Russian woman. I know I like being here in Ukraine and Russia. It bleeds over. So I know a lot of situations. When it comes to investments, I just think you would have to have a family and you have to be careful because your empire can be taken from you over there. Okay, so I'll say that. Now, introverts, extroverts, um, they're happy people, man. I mean, like you know, the guys are they'll come ask you your name and shake your hand before you ask them theirs and shake their hand. It's like one or two nods at the gym. First day it's nods, and like second day is handshakes. Like these guys are they're extroverted all day. They'll ask you all day, like, what are you doing here? Like, you know, see that? Well, you know, Kagdala, what's your name? I mean, they don't have to be drunk, you know. So that's extroverted to me in a way. It's like, yeah, I'm from Texas. People might be a little bit more howdy, more social. Maybe New York, they're not as social, but here they are. Like, you know, they're in a sense they're happy to see you. Maybe that's because that's what I get sometimes, but they're genuinely happy to meet you. If you have a few words to say to them, they're gonna listen. So that's the men, right? And you guys look at them as being cold, like they got the cold face on them. They no reaction, you know. Um, and that might be true. They do look stone cold. The men do look mean. They don't have an expression. You don't know, you know, they're ready to do whatever. But they're gentlemen. They're sweet people. You know what I mean? So politics aside, they're good people, right? So that's just a facade. That's just the way they look for being in the cold and being in the hard area. That's just the way they look. but they're generally very, very extroverted. I say the women are they'll look introverted, but they're extroverted amongst each other, you know. So, and if she's feeling you, if there's some energy between you and her, she'll be extroverted towards you, femininely extroverted, if that makes sense. They express themselves a little bit easier. The real them.
Interesting. Thank you, bro. Thank you very much. Now, but let me ask you about so when you first went to Russia for the first time ever in your life, right? What was your first impressions of it? Did it exceed expectations? Or or did you expect it to be that way? Your first time there was that, oh, this is mind blowing. What was your first reaction when going there for the first time in your life?
Well, it's not like when you go over there, you go straight to the center where you see the colorful dome tops that you've seen in the magazines and stuff. Like, you go to Moscow, and sometimes you may go to a region where you don't see none of that. So you have to go visit that. Or when you go down to the lower parts of Russia, it's just to me it was not like the pictures and the photos. Like I have to go to those areas that you've seen in magazines. But it was disarming. Like, I'm an 80s kid, so I watched all the movies from the Rambos and all that stuff in the 80s. Of course, they were fighting Vietnamese or they were fighting the Russians in the 80s, and all the movies, Red Dawn, all that was 80s against Russians, right? So it was always we had the Rocky movies. The Russian was always different. So once I got over to Ukraine and I got over to Moldova and I started seeing some of the Eastern European countries, like I was ready for Russia, if that makes any sense at all. It's not like I was thrown in the bottom of Russia. Like, before Crimea was Russia, it was Ukraine at first. So I'm experiencing certain parts of Russia without being in Russia because it was all part of the communist bloc. They've taken down certain statues and stuff over here, but like I told you in past podcasts about Moldova, they're still up. There's certain countries you can go to, Belarus, like these statues are still up. So when I got to Russia, it was like just now, it's not much different than when I'm leaving these other Eastern European countries. Not much different. I had to go see the military, I had to see the police, I had to see the the center of Moscow, where you see the powerful political center to get the grasp of it. But it was like it's just it's not as cold blooded as we've been taught. The people are not as mean. The military is not just out here taking over the world like we've been taught. They're it's just different. Well, reality from the media is mind blowing. So it strips you of all the things that you've been told, and it brings you back down and like, man, these people cool in the mug, man. Like, I really got to understand this language more, man, because the love I'm getting, like, this is cool. Like, my money is long, and man, I'm meeting different people, and like, it just strips you of everything that you've been taught. So that's what I felt. It's like I'm continuing to be stripped of, biases that I've been taught from the West. That's what I felt. It's like, oh man, I've been lied to. That's what I thought. Those are the feelings that permeated my head as I went through, different parts of Russia and seeing different parts of it. That's what I felt like.
Okay, awesome, bro. So, brother, now in Russia, right? How do you meet people and make friends there, personally? How do you do it? To get connections there, networking. How do you meet people and make friends there, bro?
Again, you got people who are social. So the moment you come in from the airport, you may be antisocial yourself because you're in a new place. The moment you're coming from the airport, get your taxi and you're trying to find out where they're trying to take you to where your apartment is at. You know where your apartment is at. The moment you put up your bags, once you come outside, it should be fairly easy. Just walk into the next spot, trying to get to a cafe so you can get on the internet. It's not hard at all. It's going to be someone that's going to be social. The moment that they see you don't speak Ruski or you don't speak Russian, they're going to try in English. So the bridge is going to be there. It's going to be people that's trying. I mean, the moment you get out and you socialize, I always tell people, if you're traveling, gentlemen, I know a lot of you guys don't work out. I understand. I mean, there's different people contacting me on IG for different reasons that from these calls, from these podcasts. And I understand that everybody don't put the gym part of the triangle. But I'm just telling you, gentlemen, like, unless you're big drinkers, try to be social. And I've always said that I've had a lot of success from just being at my flat, leaving the flat. Then I go to the gym. I spend an hour and a half at the gym. Then I go to a magazine or a coffee shop before I go to the store, the big magazine, and I come back to the house. On certain days, I can stretch that out to a cafe or so. So it's the same process, gentlemen. You're going to meet a lot of people at the gym, even if you're just in there, just doing a few exercises on the bike or just walking on the machine. You're going to meet lots of people. That's where a lot of my friendships start. I meet a lot of different people at the gym. Not that I'm Mr. Social, it's just that they're very friendly. You're gonna have guys putting their hand out, they're gonna see you the next day, then they're gonna say their name, Andre, then you got Sergey, and then you're just gonna be like, oh man, they're like, hey, let's go to the drinks. Like I got that so many times. Like I get that so many times. I'm like, okay, yes or no, or yeah. So you're gonna meet people, you're gonna meet different girls. All right, same thing. You gotta get out, gentlemen. So just be brave. I mean, you're there for X amount of time. It's not like you got 3 months. It's a different process, gentlemen. When I have a place for 3 months, I can sort of relax, set up shop. When you guys got 30 days in Russia, you have to take care of, make sure every day that it's a maximum period that you're working on being social. If that makes any sense, you have to get out of your social egg that you're in the West, where you get lots of bad vibes, bad energy, lots of no's. Then over here, you're getting good energy, lots of yeses, opportunities. You got to recognize the more places you're at, the more times you're seen, the more opportunities you have. So that's how you meet people.
Awesome, bro. So, Mr. Donald, right? So let's talk about transportation. Whenever you're in Russia, okay, how do you move around, brother? Is it Uber? Is it bus, train, subway? Break it down for us, bro.
Okay, when I first get to a country, I used to not mind taking like the bus, like the bus to go from one area to another area, from one city to another city. I don't mind doing that, right? Because I can look out the window and enjoy the whole trip. I'll sit in there with Russian people and see them eating tomatoes and stuff, and I'll be like, wow. But I've over time I've sort of gotten away from that because I can afford to not take those trips or go that route. But when you're in Russia, inside the city, yes, you take Uber. You don't need to take the public transportation because you have no idea where it's going. Okay, you take the Uber. They know exactly where to take you based on the address you put into the system. All right. You can take the bus when you're with a girl or something, right? I've only take buses like little short buses in the city. I've only done that when I'm with a female, right? She's like, let's get to the bus. I'm like, you know what? That's cool. I ain't been on a bus in a long time. Then I'm on the bus and people are coughing and stuff. I'm like, man, this is the reason why I don't catch buses. But I'm with the people, right? I'm with the people. Sometimes, gentlemen, you do have to put yourself out there because the bus is full of hot women. I'm gonna tell you right now, the bus is full of hot women. That's why I'll be walking everywhere because they can see one on the bus. But transportation, take your Uber. You're going to the bar, you're going to the cafe, dress well, take Uber. All right. If you're you meet a female, she wants to take the subway or something, you go with her. Okay. But by yourself, unless you're taking pictures and you want the experience, take your Uber. You're going to a different city, you're gonna have to go to the after Vixall, which is the bus station, train station, pay for a bus. They got short buses that are going, maybe 2 hours out, 3 hours out. Then you got to take something if it's longer. So I've done all that.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. So, brother, in Russia, right? Is it cash heavy or is it cashless, brother? Out of interest.
Keep cash with you at all times. I needed cash last night. I needed cash last night. I went to a business meeting and it was 700 hryvnias to get in, roughly about $35, whatever. And I didn't have cash. I had to call a friend, one of my girls. So I was like, man, I got my card. They don't run the card. They can't run your American card. They couldn't run my American card. They was like, can you do card to card? I'm like, we don't do that in America. You can't do card. I don't give people access to my card. So I had to call my lawyer last night and she did it. Boom. And it's just, you always want to keep cash on you. One of my American buddies was saying that last night. He said, Don, I said, man, I always keep cash on me. I said, I'll be forgetting that sometimes because I don't. But you should always keep cash on you for little bitty situations because it's cash heavy. Taxis cash heavy. Some shops are cash heavy. Babushkas, all them are cash heavy. They don't have no card readers, so don't do them like that. You're gonna find babushkas on the corner that's selling all kind of strawberries and stuff like you like. Man, at the store, I didn't even see these, and then the price was double this. Like I'm gonna get them from babushka. Like boom. You want to have the cash ready because those are miniature stores that's in the city from your block going to the big stores. You'll have miniature stores, which is old babushkas out with fruit and vegetables and stuff at their price. So you want to be cash heavy for them, right?
Mm.
So I'm just saying, like, once you get to the city, you want to keep a little cash on you. You know, don't think it's other dudes with big wallets. When they open up their stuff, they have the way they pay their system. They got these um, pretty much these like ATM looking machines that they can pay for their phones, pay for their rent. They can send money to other people. Don't think people don't be walking around with a lot of cash. I've seen people walk around with, you know, with lumps. So since it's safe, people can do that. So if you want to get around here and walk around with your lump of cash, you all right.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. But let me ask this, right? So, obviously, being Russia and where it is right now, how would you take out cash? Do you have to take out the Russian currency in the US, in the UK
Rubles.
before going there, or do it in the country?
No, sir. I never. I told you guys once before. All you guys that be traveling, it's been dudes that be having that cash on them, and people see it on the plane. And when you get off that plane, they're in their country and they know you got that cash on you. So don't do that, gentlemen. I've told you before, I don't play that game, right? So if there's any way I have cash on me, I have it put up. But it's no problem for me to get over there and go into exchange for rubles. So if I have a stack of hundreds, I can exchange it for rubles. They're gonna give you a lot of money for it. Okay, so you just take the rubles and then boom, you're good to go. Okay, so I usually do that. Put my card in, get back the rubles. You know what I'm saying? If you have some cash, just go and exchange it. I like to do it sometimes at the airport, you know, so that way I'm not doing it in the city. Because once I get in the city, I really am in the wasp nest. And I always like to think of, like, you know, it's safe at the airport. So if somebody they got to follow me in this taxi. It's only they know. But if I do it in the city, it's too many people that just know I just exchange. You know what I mean? I just feel different about it. So I do it at the airport because that way, before I get in this taxi, I'm completely transitioned a lot of my cash over. Then I got my card that's on my phone or whatever. If that makes sense, gentlemen. But it's
Awesome.
safe. It's safe. I say that to be always secure of yourself, but it's very safe, gentlemen. A lot of people will tell you it's very, very safe. It's a different feeling over in Russia.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. Now, brother, when it comes to food, right? Number one, do you like Russian food? And if so, brother, what is your favorite Russian cuisine that you really like?
So I don't have a favorite. There's lots of soups that they make. They have these little bitty pasta like dumplings they make that you like the babushkas they make. They have certain fish dishes you like. It's very basic, the dishes, right? Their menu is very basic. So it's still a place that you always cook for yourself too, or you find a place you're like, okay, well, give me some of that chicken, fried chicken. It's not even fried, it's like battered chicken. It's really compressed. You know, it's just different. And then they always have mashed potatoes somewhere or some different potatoes. So lots of salads. It's very different, very healthy. You know, it's nothing for me to sit. When I do, when I have been on public transportation, it's nothing for me to see like a man or woman to pull out a whole tomato and eat it, or just an egg and eat it. Very basic. Where you see us when we're from the West eating something, you know, it's definitely not good for you. But over here, it's just different to see like their diet is very, very healthy. So it's usually the bigger men, the older men who get big with babushkas, you know, from their diets. But it's a very healthy diet. It's not any particular dish that I'm like, oh, where I really love. It's a mixture. I end up eating what I want to eat when I'm over there anytime, you know. Anyways, but you will find places that are just basic Russian places, and they have like Russian soups and stuff like that you might enjoy. Old hard bread. I say it's hard bread, but you know, it's people that's coming from the communist days. They're used to having the wintry bread. They can pull it down. It's just one thing. You got to cut it like a saw, like it's wood. You got to cut it. Somebody got to sit over there. You got to get over here and take a saw and do the bread like that. Hard bread goes with your soup. Like that's good, right? So that kind of meal you sort of get used to. It's the old Russian way. So they don't have like exotic foods. Like they're just not starting to get like our Starbucks or our burgers, you know, certain burgers and stuff like that. But they're trying to mix it up, you know.
Do you personally like Russian food, bro?
Yes, yes, I do. It's not like I dislike it. I like it because of course it keeps me trim. I can see my body when I look down. I can see my feet. my stomach trim. Like it's the same place. Like I'm not. You know what I mean? It's not like I left the Western buffet. So yeah, I do like it because it's quite healthy.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. So, brother, when it comes to like cost of living in Russia, when you compare cost of living in Russia to America, is Russia expensive, more expensive, or is it cheaper, brother? Tell me the overall cost of living in Russia.
Much cheaper for basic, middle class or just travelers. You can easily get an apartment for basically $250. You break it down in rubles, but it's a pretty good price, especially with everything that's going on. Like you can find good apartments. We're saying like $250 for like a month. You know what I mean? So you can have it for like a full month, one bedroom and stuff like that. If you search, they have really really good prices, depending on how close you are to the city center. Blase blase. But for the most part, your economically your budget is going to be quite cushiony in Russia. You're gonna whatever you say, okay, I'm gonna spend about 1,500 this month. That's your budget outside of your ticket. I got 1,500. Like you're living quite well week to week. You haven't had to go get it's not like you're going shopping. Even getting out drinking and eating. Like you're still doing quite well. Your money's gonna go a long way. Once you break it down to rubles, you're not gonna need the whole 1,500. Unless you're having a bad streak with the women and you got to go pay for something, but you're not going to need the 1,500. So I think it's very economical. The trip is very economical to go there to visit, and then it's very economical to live there as well.
Awesome, awesome, brother. Awesome. So, brother, now cell phone roaming in Russia, when you're out there, are you using American networks or are you using the Russian network? I'm guessing you have a SIM card, right? Russian SIM card you use every time you're in Russia. Break down the
So
roaming there.
if I'm there for 30 days, I'll have a Nokia a Nokia phone, or I'll put my Russian number in there. But I'll always keep my Ukrainian number as well. So that works over there. But I always have a phone, like a second phone with a Russian SIM on it, just in case. And that's only because I'm there
Okay,
for 30
brother.
days. So if you guys are gonna be there and there's no problem either. I mean, when it comes to like your internet, you just get over there and it's not gonna be a problem. Once you get it, if you do get a SIM card, like it's not gonna be a problem. Without a SIM card, of course, you got to find internet. So
Awesome, brother. So, brother, let me ask this right. So, tell me about the internet strength there and connection there in Russia. Is it good compared to America and Ukraine, or is it bad there in Russia?
no, it's actually pretty good. Actually, pretty good with everything they have going on in Russia. It's actually really good internet.
Awesome, awesome, brother. Awesome. So, brother, now, brother, in terms of racism, right? Actually, no, before we do that, right? But in terms of safety, right? You being a black man, you're in a majority white country, okay? So when you're by yourself, when you're with a group of people, when you're in the nighttime, daytime, are you safe there, brother, as a black man? Is Russia safe? Is it a safe country? Is it safe for black men to be by themselves there? Keep it real with me, brother. Keep it real.
Well, I touched upon the subject a little bit earlier when I was talking about safety.
Mm,
The safety that black men feel is like something that's very different. A lot of people, you have to do your history. A lot of people don't know that way back in in the slavery days, there was a lot of slaves that went off to Russia, and they for generations they've been there, and they went to Russia because they felt more free there. And it was strange to just even watch those documentaries on YouTube about the Black Russians and how they got over there, and how for generations how they branched off and continued to live there. So, and even today, even recently, an old boxers, even Roy Jones feels like a king there. There's certain boxers, Mike Tyson, there's certain people, Michael Jackson, there's certain black people that are like kings there, right? Michael Jordan, there's certain people that are kings there, right? Just as much as in China, right? So, and then that you get treated like that, right? So the safety part is that you don't want to break the law when in Russia. That's why I started out this video with saying, gentlemen, this is one place you guys don't want to relax as much. You want to have a good time, but just make sure you're, abiding by the rules that they have there. Because, I like to relax when I'm in certain places, no matter where I am. But I know at certain places, you really, really want to make sure, you don't break any rules. Egypt, Russia, in certain places you don't want to break any rules, right? So there's a security component that comes with all that, meaning you're not going to have a high level of crime. Don't have to worry about nobody trying to scam you, rob you, all up in your, your bags and stuff, kick door in your apartment. It's just different. It's so really it's a safety feeling that you feel that you have never felt in the USA. You're not going to see people leaned out like in Philadelphia. You're not going to see people. No, hey, you're not going to see it. You're not going to see, Keisha hollering across the street. Like, it ain't going down. No, I'm serious. Like, it's not going down. The women don't act like that, but then somebody going to shut you up real fast. Like, there's a tolerance for the drunk men, but it's not disorderly. I'm always surprised that they don't have a high rate of car accidents like we do in the West. We have car accidents all the time, sober, not sober, but add in some beers. But you're talking about a country of people that drink a lot, right? So that's not going crazy, right? So I guess so much for public transportation. But then so the crime is low. So you can look at the statistics in crime, and it's very low in Russia. So all that right there is to your benefit as a black man. That's why I say it slowly peels you down like an onion. Right? Not like a banana, because you can only do like two or three times you got the banana open. No diddy. But then with the onion, you got to keep peeling it, right? So that's what I'm saying. When you get over to Russia, you're going to be peeling from the moment you walk to the airport and you see the people, the love you're getting, the respect you're getting right here. You can see people's eye contact. You can like, man, it's just disarming you from the armor that you wear in the West. You're going to be disarmed walking around through Russia, and you're going to feel it really mostly is the anti-racism. You're not going to be feeling it. You're going to have people more in awe, paying attention to you based on how you carry yourself, gentlemen. Some of y'all don't deserve to be looked at in awe. You just a passport bro coming through. Thanks for coming over here. But carry yourself accordingly. Look accordingly. If you're going to be there, you're going to be there for 30 days. Try not to look like you were a tourist. Like, enjoy yourself, be with the people, because they're going to enjoy you being there. It's just a moment. It's a brief moment. You have to enjoy every day. They can feel that energy. So based on your energy every day, boom, you're going to get it back. No racism,
Amazing.
gentlemen. You're not going to feel it.
So, brother, from what you've seen out there, right? Let's clarify this right now, brother. Okay, let's break it down. What is the image of black men in Russia? And two, brother, is it fragmented? So, is there a different image for Black American men compared to African black men, or are we grouped all in one? What's the image of black men in Russia overall, brother? From what you see and what you know, what's that image like?
That's a great question. So I just mentioned just moments ago, there's certain black men they idolize forever, right? So that's one thing you appreciate. I mean, Roy Jones gets like the treatment, even though he gets over there, he got knocked out 2 times. Roy Jones got like 5, 6 fights in Russia because they loved him so much. He was going through the same problems Mike Tyson had when he was in Japan. Mike Tyson say he had a room full of Japanese women the night before he fought. Roy Jones be having so many Russian women, he can't win when he get over there. So there's certain people that they idolize, certain black men, sports figures they idolize, right? Is it fragmented? Slightly, yes.
Break it down.
African men have the most access to the Russian women because they're over there for school, or they get over there for school or different reasons. So they have access. You'll see an African man with a kid with a Russian woman before a regular black guy. But when a black guy is there, he gets different kind of attention than the African guy gets. But I'm telling you, the African guy is the guy who's probably already locked down a woman and had the baby. And the black guy is like almost the bachelor, if that makes sense. Like 99% of the African guys I know that live there, they have a baby. Okay, so the black guys I know that visit, they don't really go over there and drop the kid in the women. But it's sort of fragmented, whereas that sometimes they can look at black men and African guys differently based on how they carry themselves and their dress code. But then, certain African guys, I've seen the African guys in the nice Range Rovers, the nice Mercedes. I've seen that, and then you see the African guy that him and his wife are catching taxis to go get somewhere, and they're barely making it. But they got a kid and they're doing what they got to do. It's not barely making it; they're just living. Okay, so people are not looking at it like one's rich and one's poor. They just look at they think the guy from the West, he's closer to Jordan, he's closer to this. These African guys, they can see them faster. I saw one last week. I saw one, right? So they can see them more often. So yeah, that's the only difference. But there's not many blacks there. So you men who travel there, you're gonna have a very good opportunity of finding a woman that you like.
Awesome, brother. Now, brother, next question for you, right? So racism. So we can rule out that. So, brother, you can tell me, you can confirm to me that you actually receive less racism in Russia than in America and other Western countries. But is that a correct statement?
Dude, there was a time like the Russian guys walk up to you with they don't have to have the skinhead look, but there's like the hair's not fully there, and they got this hard look, but they just want to know your name. They want to have a drink with you. Now, if I was in Germany, if I was in certain parts of Texas, and they walked up like that, it's almost like you got to prepare for the worst, right? So sometimes I felt that, and it's never been directed towards me. I've seen them fight each other. They will fight. These Russian guys will fight. I'm not gonna lie to you. They will fight, man. But I've never received that. I've gotten hugs. I've gotten kisses on the cheek. I've got, man, one more drink. It's on me. Like I've gotten that as if I'm the star football player who won the championship. And when I come back home, everybody at the pub wants to buy me a drink. Right. So that feeling that you get a lot of times when you go out, guy hugged me last night. He was like, he said, your friend Mike, the other expat, he has charisma. He said, you pretty. I say, because sometimes they don't know how to say handsome, or they don't know how to say you look cool. So they use words that be like, hey man, okay. But that's how it is, right? He's like, man, you pretty. All the girls like you. You look good, like So their way of talking, he's hugging me, having a good time. There's no aggression. I get that in Russia. It's like there's no aggression when you think that there is. So sometimes, like I say, like the onion, they peel that back. So after like a couple of days, like a week or so, you be like, man, I can let my guard down, and me letting my guard down makes me smile faster because they smiling fast. You know what I'm saying? They smiling a lot faster than me. So once you start smiling faster, that's when the energy starts to flow more. That's what I'm trying to tell you, gentlemen. It's going to be different when you get there because we carry ourselves a certain way in the West. So you'll be looking for it. You'll be looking for the racism, but you're going to feel it that it's not there, not just see it.
Awesome, brother. Brother, next question for you, right, is culture. Tell me about Russian culture. Is Russian culture conservative, or is it liberal, or is it in the middle of both, brother? Break it down for us and tell us why.
It ain't in the middle. It's conservative. I already told y'all, keep that flag at the house. If it got more color, if it got 6, 7 colors on there, you better keep that flag at the house. If you passport bros, like bros, you better keep that in the West. It's about as conservative as it can get. Like, we don't play that. There's not going to be no 2 men holding hands in the streets. Okay? So you gentlemen, us who are heterosexual, we can take solace in that it's very masculine, very man, woman, 2 genders, Trump style. Okay? So that conservatism is what keeps everything on the up and up. Why you don't have to worry about, you walking around with a stack, somebody watching you. They're not watching you. You can walk around freely. You don't have to, you want to go by the rules. You don't want to be smoking marijuana, but you can drink, you can have a good time, drink all you want to. You can sing loud, have a good time. Everyone was there in Russia just for the football championship a couple years ago. Let's not act like it's not a place to be. Everyone was
Facts.
there, right? Okay, so people weren't coming back saying everybody was in jail, right? They allow you to be who you were, but it's a very conservative country. Um, that's what keeps it really a lot of the West madness that we allow. They do not allow over there. So for some of us conservative guys, we can like, shoot, I can come over and have a good time because some of that other stuff ain't gonna be in my eyesight. My visual is sort of clear over here. You know,
Facts.
you know that's another level of safety. I can peel that onion down. That boom, you know, this I might want to raise my family over here because you know the visual over here is quite nice. You know what I'm saying? So again, more layers of the onion. That right there can give some of you conservative guys just a little bit more. That'd be a good visit for you to see like, wow, this is how the West could be. This is how the West say they are religious, but they don't have these beautiful steeples of churches all around the city where I'm from. I see tall buildings for capitalism, right? In these cities, you see the tall buildings, but in between, you see beautiful steeples too, like everywhere. So that conservatism just runs across the board. You know, that's my answer to that.
Awesome. Awesome, bro. Fantastic. So, brother, now next question for you, brother, right, is I want to ask you, brother, okay, is American culture, as we know, is quite strong. It's everywhere. Even I can admit that, right? Now, how bad or how strong is American culture in Russia? Is it very small? None at all? Is it there in some parts? If so, what is it there that's American? Break it down for me, bro.
It would be more, you know, for a long time, you guys, the Russian bloc, the apartments are the same. So a lot of these apartments, man, they look the same, they built the same, they just had the same couches, the same beds, the same stuff, the same storage. Like they didn't have a lot of options, man. So after 91, you know, when everything changed over here in Russia, they started getting more stuff shipped over there. Okay, so even to this day, like they start putting so many embargoes on Russia that they lose a lot of stuff in the stores. They lose a lot of stuff that usually Western countries would send. The U.S. would send over. They lose that through embargoes. You're not going to get this. You're not going to get that. We're going to cut this off. We're going to cut that off. So sometimes their shelves are not as full, right? Um, but so I say that to say that they can't sometimes have the latest stuff that they want that we have, like Amazon and certain things are not delivering there for certain reasons, right? But for the most part, they're modern. Of course, they're modern. They got a lot of things that we have. You see lots of sports clothes we like. They like too. I mean, kids like the Nike. You know, adult men like the Nike. I mean, when it comes to sportswear, that goes into adulthood in Russia, right? You can be an adult wearing sportswear, and it's just it's kind of what it is. So things like that, you know, they're influenced. They got their own music. You know, they got they can get fashion online, and if it comes from the West, it comes from the West. They have a lot of influences to a certain degree, whereas that they know a few of our rappers, they know a lot of our heavy metal music, they know a lot of our rock, right? It wasn't like a lot of stars go there to perform. Let's not act like, you know, that doesn't happen, right? They like our foods and stuff, but they take McDonald's, they got to close McDonald's there. So it's lots of Western stuff that it will take, but the influence is there. Does that make sense? It's there. Like you can bring it and take it back. So from everything the car, I mean, you know, they have nice cars there too, man. They got millionaires and billionaires there too. They got clubs and stuff and restaurants you don't want to go in. You know, they got restaurants and stuff where they got the, you know, extra cars outside because with two people, passenger and just waiting next to the cars that are parked, which means they're waiting for their boss. And the guy who drives that car is actually standing over there behind them. Like you see restaurants like that, man. And you see those extra cars outside. You're like, okay, that's all. So boom, you see, it's different. There's money here, right? I told you about the classes on the Patreon. There's the classes there's different classes, but there's a large amount of classes middle class. So if they can get their hands on stuff that's Western, they can, and they do. But for the most part, it's a pro-Russian country. So, you know, it is what it is when it comes to the culture. That's all pro-Russian. That's none of that's Western. But as for goods, shoes, clothing, they try to get their hands on what they can get their hands on. Embargoes cut that stuff off, But do they have a huge sneaker culture? They got a bunch of gamers. They got lots of techies. They got lots of hackers coming from the universities. They got lots of smart kids. I mean, Western culture can only do so much because these kids be focused on other things.
Let me ask this, brother, right? So, what about bad American influence there? Is there any sort of bad American influence in Russia that's quite strong, or they cut that out completely? They won't allow that in.
The government and Putin, they assess what they feel like is not worthy to be in Russia, and they cut it out. So if they could cut, certain sites and stuff, you can't open in Russia. certain propaganda, they don't even want it in Russia. So they have ways of cutting certain things out that the West uses or the West has access to that you may not have access to in Russia because they deem it to be, against their beliefs of what they want the country to have, available to them. Putin's just like that. He's not like China, but there's a list of certain things that they cut out in Russia, not just because of the war or because certain things going on, they're fighting against or they get embargo here, they cut off certain things. It's not just that,
Awesome, brother. Awesome, brother. Let's talk about lifestyle, right? So, brother, now when you're in Russia, right, what kind of lifestyle are you living there? Is it a high class lifestyle, middle class, lower class? What's your lifestyle like in Russia, brother? Big baller lifestyle?
No, it's a quiet lifestyle. I don't want to be a baller when I'm over there. I don't need no attention. I'm going to the gym. I'm walking from the gym. I got, certain things, certain places I walk by and got the same track record, got the same route that I take. I go to the gym, I talk to who I talk to, have a good workout, talk to the friends I talk to, the girls I talk to. I make my butt right back to the house after I go to the magazine. I'm not playing no games in Russia, meaning that I'm not out balling out of control, renting cars, driving fast down the street, getting to this club, getting bottles, going all that. Nah, man, they don't need to know who I am like that. The people who do that, they they're there a lot longer than 30 days. Okay. So those people are there a lot longer and they have a lot more context. So when I'm there and I got my 30-day period, I'm not balling out of control. Do I have a nice flat? Yes. I always have a nice flat. Not a big one in Russia. I don't do the big flats in Russia because usually I won't travel with multiple girls there. I have like once, but the other times I don't travel with a lot of girls. So my flat's not very big, but it is nice, good area. So, and I take my nice clothes and stuff like that, of course, because, I want to make sure I'm looking good the time I'm there. So I'm balling on a budget. I'm not there to collect other females and other friends. I'm usually there for someone in particular. So therefore I'm on a budget when I'm in Russia. My rubles go a
Okay.
long ways anyways. Your rubles, gentlemen, is going to go a long ways. Once you get there, you're going to break down 100 pounds and you're going to make, wow, I get this many rubles for 100 pounds. Then you're going to break down. Then when you get to the store and you see how many rubles everything is, you're going to feel rich, gentlemen. So you're going to be balling on a budget.
Awesome, brother. Awesome, brother. Let me ask this, right? So now, what's the average lifestyle the average Russian's living like, brother?
It's full of apartments. So the houses are on the outskirts. So you got a lot of flats. We call them flats, apartments. So, you can have brand new high rises next to the old vintage communist apartments that's been there for a long time. Or the building that takes up the whole block, and they're going like squares in the middle. They got the little swings and all that stuff, the workout gear, the pull-up bars. They have that always in the middle. It's basically the same. It's like, just blocks of apartments that take up a whole block. They may go about 5 stories, old elevators in them. Then you got the other ones that go up 30. Like, it's just different. So you have different classes. You have very rich, you may not see them every day in your day-to-day life. You just see average people in the buses and the taxis, depending on where you are. So they got the different classes here. You got the very poor on the outskirts, the ones who got the farmland and stuff like that. They got to wait till their harvest before they get a little bit of extra cash. They got a whole bunch of stuff saved up in jars. And you say poor, and we use that word loosely because we're from the West. But if you get over there and you have the disposable income that you have, you may think that a lot of people are poor. That's the doggone truth. That the moment you get there and you break down your rubles and you see what the old lady's trying to pay for her potatoes, her katorchka, her potatoes, and what she's trying to pay for over there, and you see what she's spending, and then you buy what you buy, and, you see these people come every day. You start to add it up, what the pension is. You ask a few people, what's the pension? You'll feel like people are poor. So, but it won't be the case. That's just their life. It's been very sustainable, very consistent. That money, that lifestyle has been very consistent. They don't have car accidents. They don't have doctor bills. They don't have all the stuff we have in the West. They don't have capitalism in your face. Buy this new TV. Get the new Xbox. They don't have all that. Shooting at them, right? So their life is very consistent. And when you take a look at that, you're like, oh, okay, she's been doing this for like 15 years, 25 years, 50 years. Like, it's just very consistent lifestyle. Some families have never had a car. The whole family. Papa, babushka, dedushka, they didn't have a car. Mama, papa, they didn't have a car. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been generations. They didn't have cars, so that's a lot of money saved. They got the same house, so it's different. Don't look at the people as poor because they've survived many winters. And we all know we can't even survive this winter. True, IP.
Facts, bro. Facts. So, Mr. Donald, right? Let's talk about things to do there in Moscow, Russia. So, what can we do there as hobbies, or tell us things to do there, brother, in Moscow, Russia, to keep us entertained, etc., etc.
Okay, so you don't go to Russia without seeing the sights. So if you go in any magazine, you got to make sure you take a picture in the center. Preferably it's cool if you have a broad with you, so you can sort of be player. You got the beautiful background, you got the beautiful on your arm. Boom, it just looks good, especially if you're ugly. Now, if you by yourself, you can't get that. Get the pictures of you in the center, the beautiful pictures. You got to see that. That's like a lot of history when you go to the center. Certain cathedrals that's been there a long time. You want to walk inside the cathedral as you would in a mosque, and in the Middle East. I've walked into old mosque and stuff like that. In Egypt, I've walked into old mosque, old huts and stuff in across the Nile. So then I've walked into nice cathedrals over in Eastern Europe. You go to a cathedral in Russia, you have to walk inside the cathedral, get a picture, take a look at how they do it, where the candles go, boom, what they do it, because this is ancient history, right? Those are the landmarks, right? So as a man, you're there, you got your 30 days. These are the places you want to make sure you get the pictures of, because that's going to speak volumes for the people that you meet later, and for the people who see your pictures. They're going to know that you've been to Russia. Okay. So then after you get those monumental areas, you definitely got cafes, man. Cafes is where regular people go, man. Just regular cafes near your apartment, far from your apartment. Look at the top ones in the city, what's popping. Based on your budget, you want to spend a little bit, boom, you can always go and get your table. Cafes is always fun because you're going to see lots of different girls. And that's going to be in the city center, and it's also around the city. Okay. You got your discos, of course. It gives you a high hit rate for you guys that are having trouble during the day, having a low hit rate. You're just getting names and numbers barely. At night, you'll probably do a lot better at a disco. So you want to do that like 3 or 4 times a week based on your budget, because it's a higher hit ratio. It's a higher, you go to a different one, You got to be seen. You only got 30 days. So these are all little things. And then you got historically museums. If you're into museums, you're into history, you can go further than just the monuments that are out there inside the city. You can go further than that, just go to major museums, because you may not want to travel outside of Moscow to a different region, a 2-hour bus to see something, right? So just make sure you knock out everything within the city. So, and museums are cool because that's when you can ask a girl, hey, will you go with me with the museum? Because 9 times out of 10, they've been before, or they haven't had a chance to go, and it's their city. So a museum or any kind of sightseeing like that, I always ask a girl, man. Like I've never done sightseeing like that without a girl, man. Like it's almost not cool. Um, so yeah, so I would say, those are places that you would go when you're not, what I'm saying, at your flat, at the store. Different stores, like they got the big stores, they got the little stores. You'll find them when you're shopping for food. But and make sure you don't go in the wintertime, so you can walk around. Remember, I always preach walking around, gentlemen. Stay out them Ubers and stuff. Most of the places you can go is in walking distance. Now, if you dressed up and the places and it's hot in summertime, take a Uber because I've done that and ain't nothing not cooler than a sweaty black man who dress cool. Like it just don't look cool. I'm all sweaty. I'm trying to keep a cool walk. I'm trying to go meet the man. I'm not doing this ever again, right? So in that case, in the summertime. But other than that, man, stay out the Ubers, man. Walk around. That's how you're gonna pick up the most people. That's how you're gonna see the most girls. That's how you're gonna get the most hellos. That's how you're gonna feel the most love.
Awesome, bro. Now, brother, let me ask this, right? So, brother, in terms of, let's say, language, right? Is English enough to communicate with people out there, or must we know some degree of Russian, brother? Keep it 100 with me.
Okay, so for you guys, a lot of you guys who are on here, or your listeners, IP from the West, you tend to have multiple languages. So if you have multiple languages, English is going to be the language that they're gonna expect for you to use, right? So English is what they expect. English is what they're gonna get. Now, if you have 2 or 3 words under your belt, the conversation is gonna be longer, the smile is gonna be bigger, and the arms are gonna be wider. Okay, so it may go as far as like, oh, this nice Ruski. Like, do you know Russian? And then you can say, nah, I just know one word. Okay, you can fake them with the privet. They will, oh, this nice Ruski. Nah, I don't know any Russian. You can fake them with the one word, but that's just enough to get them excited, right? Or if you know nothing, just straight English. Okay, use your English. That's what you're gonna have to use to, take the conversation further. Like, what's your name? Where you from? You say, I'm UK. Oh, UK. UK. Oh, okay. British. Like, say where you're from, and then they'll be happy because they're gonna ask you. Every man you get a taxi, they're gonna ask you, in Russian, where you from. Even if you don't understand what they're saying, you just say, because they know the address, so they shouldn't be asking you anything. But he's gonna say Kakoi. He's gonna say, where you from? You can just say, I'm UK. Okay, so they're gonna ask you. You're gonna get that from taxi drivers immediately. Now, females, they're gonna have to hear you speaking, English, then you tell them. But yeah, I would say try to learn dobre utrum, good morning, dobre den, good day, dobre вечер, good evening, privet, здравствуйте. Hello, like you get the little book open, go into your phone, try to say hello or something. Come on, gentlemen. Because you're gonna need that for the females. So it's okay if you don't know nothing at the airport, you don't know nothing at the taxi, you want to be dumb. Okay, be dumb. But when you get to the girls, you're gonna wish you practiced or you had 1, 2, 3 words in your tool belt.
Okay. So English, not really spoken out there, but you need to have Google Translate, know some Russian.
No,
Saying,
that's the only thing they would expect to come out your mouth would be English because of your skin color. If you're dark skinned, they're gonna be expecting you to speak English.
okay.
Right? So just use your
Do they speak?
English.
Do they speak English though, brother? Some Russians, a good amount of them.
You a good amount, no. But you're gonna find the ones that know a few words. They're gonna understand a few words that you're trying to say. You're gonna find that in the social arena. You're gonna find that at the gym. Just walking by, you may not find that. The odds, right? You're rolling the dice, right? But in places where you see the same people more often, you're gonna find 1 or 2 in there that got their English pretty good. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The passerby is gonna be a little bit different. The odds are they're not gonna speak it as well. If you're in a public place, they might be able to help you. Airport, at the hotel, right? If you do the Airbnb or if you get a flat on your own, there may not be the lady who give you the key. She may, but that's it.
Awesome. So, brother, now let me ask about this, brother. Right. So, weather. Whenever you're in Russia, how's the weather like, brother? Right? Is it really cold out there? Is it warm in some parts, or what? Is it cold most of the year? What's the weather like over there in Russia, bro?
It's cold 4 months out of the year, and it's very cold, like snow cold. Like you have to sit down and pee cold. That's pretty cold.
Mm,
So it's uncomfortably cold, snowy, right? So that's why they wear the big jackets. You got to be prepared for that. I don't like to go in the winter months. I always prefer to go in the summer months. I tell you the guys that all the time. Like that's one country I don't like to be in the winter months. I prefer to go in the country in the summertime because it's of course dress code is different. You can see people completely, but you know uh, Russia is full of winter months. All the movies are winter related in the snow. Even romance movies are winter related. Like it's all winter related. It's a very, very wintry country. 4 or 5 months, is very cool. Depending on how far up you're going.
okay. Awesome, bro. So, brother, next question for you, brother. Right? Is now let's talk about nightlife. Okay. Um, do you party in Russia, brother?
Yes, I've gone out dancing. Yes, sir.
So, brother, what's the vibes there? What kind of music do they play in the nightlife? What kind of people do you meet in the nightlife? What's sort of vibe there in the Russian nightlife, bro?
I mean, they have a lot of Eastern European dance songs that they like. I heard even I heard a mixture of Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby last night. So I mean, they take it back far, man. Like they like the '80s, '90s. Lots of Eastern European joints. If they're dancing, because the women like to dance. So even last night, it's like another event where it was easily 70% women. So yeah, it's no different in Russia. The clubs are going to be playing um, lots of Eastern European dance music. You know, that's what women like.
Okay. What about rap music? Is that being played? American rap music?
No, you really won't hear American rap music. They have enough.
Great.
They have enough Russian rap music to keep them like they know the lyrics, they know the words. Like adult women, adult women know the words. Like girls know the words. Like men know the words. Like it's coming out the cars and Russian rap. I could be in Istanbul and hear Russian rap coming out of somebody's Range Rover. Like I can, like it's that prevalent. Russian rap is very prevalent here. So it's gotten bigger every year. The producing has gotten better. The music has gotten better. But yeah, that's something I listen to. I hear almost every day. Not that I listen to, I hear almost every day.
Awesome. Brother, I hope they're not saying the N word in Russian raps.
No, no. I mean
Great.
I've heard it before, but it's not something that they have other stuff to talk about.
Okay. Brother, so what kind of women do you meet in the nightlife in Russia? Is it three or four women, or can you find wifey in the Russian nightlife?
It's I always say I always say it's a mixture, right? So if it's a mixture, then it's I would say it's a 3 or 4, right? But then when I turn around and I'm introduced to what she does and where she's from and all that kind of stuff, it's not 3 or 4 type shit. So that's the hard part. You meet a lot of beautiful Russian women, man. You think that because she's into you or because she's dressed the way she's dressed and her lips are so full and her breasts are full. It's like, hey man, like but that's not the case. It's just another beautiful woman that's into you because it's going to be a lot of beautiful women that you will have access to. Um, so it's sort of hard to say who's a 3 or 4 or not. The girl that's out there dancing the nastiest or the sexiest because they're all dancers, right? And they're all dancing to try to get your attention. They're all turning around, throwing their hair around, eye contact towards you because they got the which men they like because not all the men are dancing. The men that are dancing, they may not like them. So you can tell that as you're chilling against the bar, there's lots of women that are paying attention to you, dancing for you. So She might be a lawyer. The other one's like she got her own salon. She does, the other one's a dentist. But she looks good. She's, feeling good tonight. She's showing out. So that's not, is that a 304? Like, I don't know. I always tell you it's sort of hard for me to say, hard for me to call, because there's so many women in there. And, I, I if I take one home and I spend some time with her, then I might be able to check her off as a 304. But then she did that because it was me. Like that's not something that she does with every Russian guy. So it's sort of hard for me to say that. That's
Awesome,
my
awesome.
answer. That's my answer.
Okay. So, brother, now a lot of brothers in this space are IT bros, right? Is there a remote working opportunity landscape for brothers out there? If you can't answer, that's cool, brother. But in terms of like the internet strength connection, IT, is that something you've seen that could be something that we as passport bros could take advantage of?
Okay, so Russia, Poland, Ukraine, known for having all these students leaving universities and they're actually working for the government, hacking and stuff. So I can say that without getting in trouble. Like they have a lot of techs, a lot of IT, a lot of cyber security, a lot of that stuff going on in Russia, right? So techs, they're leaving Ukraine, going to Russia to work, or vice versa. So internet, uh, um, it's not going to be a problem. Like high speed, it's not going to be a problem. Um, uh, and I have spoken to a few guys who are into not coding but cybersecurity and things of that nature who live in Russia or out. You know what I mean? So outside of Russia as well, but inside Russia. So nomads do go through there when they're traveling if they have that kind of job or if they have that kind of career. It is a spot where you can get some work done. I mean, I have as well too, and I work online. So uh, that's never been a problem before.
Awesome, awesome, bro. So, brother, let me ask this right. So, in terms of, so, brother, tell me five things, right, you like about Russia.
Oh man. So I would say number one is the freedom. I always say that. Like a lot of people really will minimize the freedom, but like a lot of black men, they feel it. When I talk to expats, they feel the same. They feel the same thing. But I hear more expats say that for different Eastern European countries. But I hear more black men say how free they feel in Russia. So freedom's one thing. Um, my money, my budget. I'm not gonna even lie. I like that my money can go a lot further in Russia. Um, I have bought things in Russia, you know what I'm saying? Because of course it might be a little bit cheaper or, I could afford it based on what they had it listed for. So I like that. We all know I love the women. We all know Donnie loves the women. So that's of course on the list. And that should be much higher on the list, but that's neither here or there on my experiences over there because I'm very top secret about my Russian experiences. Um, Let me see what else would I like about Russia, man. Um, as a European country, I mean the clubs are popping. I'm not going to even lie, like the clubs are popping over there a lot more than in any other Eastern European country I've been to. So when it comes to the nightlife, so I'll put it as nightlife, not really clubs. The nightlife is going to be a lot more in abundance, a lot more upscale, a lot more options, a lot more different places to go to. So when it comes to nightlife as a bachelor, you should come out of batting 1,000. Whereas at this club, I met this girl, we had a good time. Boom. At this club, I met this girl. Like, you should come away with different experiences at the different venues. So let me say that. Number five, I I guess I'd be doing a lot of eating over there, but it's a lot more options. It seemed like there were more American companies that were doing business in Russia than they were in Moldova, Ukraine, Poland. Right? Does that make sense? There were way more American companies. You have way more access before some of them start stripping because it's a bigger city, it's a bigger country. So they've had I guess you could say food, and it's down on the list when I'm there because I just don't run to Russian places to eat. Of course, I eat a lot of Russian food, but I'm just not excited. Like, oh, I can't wait to go here tonight. It's just food. But I do a lot of eating there, so I'm not even gonna lie. Like, that's part of my budget, a main part of my budget, so food. So I would end it with those 5 things. You know, there's
Brother,
practically almost the same 5 things you guys would like.
tell me 5 things you don't like about Russia.
Oh man, so you know, I like to smoke. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I like to relax when I'm in certain countries, and you know, it's not so easy to do that over there. I'm not even gonna lie to some of you guys who partake. Um, I guess, I mean, it's not an over police state. That's what you get the moment you feel like you're in Jerusalem, or when you get to America, you just see all the homeland security, you see police. Like, it don't feel like that, but I just feel like, if I did get in trouble, I'm in trouble. So I'm from Texas, and I know I've been in trouble before in Texas, and I know in Texas when you get in trouble, you're really in trouble because Texas don't play. Well, Russia don't play. Okay, so I don't mind keeping my stay for 30 days because I'm gonna be good for 30 days. I can do that. So I don't like the fact that you know Brittany Griner, the Rainbow basketball player, she had to go to jail for having that in her drink. Having that THC, and I know I've had that. So I'll be thinking to myself, I'm like, man, these people are not gonna play with you. You know what I'm saying? So that's not cool. Um, what else I don't like? I mean, I stripped my onion was stripped of, like, being in Eastern Europe so much that when I got to Russia, it's not like I dislike some things. Like, it was cool. Like, I live a certain kind of lifestyle where I don't really have no problems. My gym is cool. The restaurants I go to is cool. My landlord is cool. My walk to the gym every day is easy. So it's not like I had any issues with people, police, or racism, or anything for me to be disliking, especially after some of my trips in other Eastern European countries. Um, they shelves be empty sometimes. They have more embargoes than anybody. So they may run out of bread. You get there during political turmoil. When you go visit the country, make sure they're not going through a lot of political turmoil. I mean, they are now, but you sort of can go online and pay attention to, like, if they're being hit hard in their grocery lines, because if they're being hit hard, you're going to be hit hard too. And you don't want to go there at a time when they out of eggs and they out of stuff, and the babushkas don't have it downstairs. And you'd be like sitting here looking like, man, this is messed up. So their stores and stuff may be out of stuff sometimes. Um, they don't have power issues or nothing like that. So that wasn't a situation. Um, Other than that, I really can't. I can't really name 5 things, gentlemen, chat, that I don't like about the country. Like, I've been to so many countries where things were probably a little bit worse, that when I go there, I really can't give you a list of things I don't like. So those 3 things right there, those 2 or 3 things right there.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. So, next question for you, Mr. Donald, right, is so, brother, have you only been to Moscow? Or if not, do you want to rank for me your top to bottom favorite countries in Russia and tell me why? Is it St. Petersburg
So
first, Moscow
cities
second,
wise,
or
cities wise. So Moscow is always going to be my favorite, right? It's going to be the biggest city. Now, not my favorite. It's going to be the biggest city. So when I'm there, I'm indulging, like, in big city opportunities. When I'm on the so I don't go to St. Petersburg, and what I do is briefly, okay. And if I go to a region, I discuss it on a Patreon. I may catch a small bus and go to another region outside the city, okay. But Moscow is always going to be the biggest city I go to. But ever since that Russia's taken over Crimea, there's other cities down there as well that I've been to more often than Moscow. But every time I get a visa, I always split 15 days here and 15 days here, 15 days North Russia and 15 days South Russia. So St. Petersburg would not be on my list as favorite city because I'm in there for business. I'm out. Moscow would be where I did the most. I do the most. There's more to do in a big city. And then in the Russian cities in South, when in Crimea that they own now, of course, I've spent more time in all those cities. under Ukraine rule and under Russian rule. Had to get a visa to go down there again to do what I had to do.
Awesome, brother. Awesome, brother. It's maybe similar to my previous question, but what's the bad parts about Russia that you've noticed? Is it infrastructure? Is it, let's say, lack of something that you've noticed? Or, what are the bad parts about the country that you've noticed that we should be aware of?
I've already listed the bad parts, gentlemen. Every country is different. I'm not fit to say, I'm not fit to walk the when I get to a certain Eastern European city and see the old factories that they had for the communist days that are no longer in production, that have been closed down, but it's still there. All the rusted concrete and the rusted metal still there. Glass is broken through. It's still there on the block. But if you look into the pictures from the old days, it was part of the, what helped them win the war. There's lots of factories like that, lots of old buildings people still live in, and they're building new buildings next to it. I can't come to any Eastern European country, including Russia, and say these are the bad parts. I continue to say this for the third time. The bad parts is, do not come to Russia and break rules. That's the bad part, meaning that
Mm,
you may have some a little bit of laxity over here, where it's a little bit more relaxed in the West, or you can break a rule and go to jail and get out and pay this and pay that, get a lawyer, get a phone call, all that. I'm gonna say this for the third time, gentlemen. The only thing I don't like about the country is once you're in trouble, you are in trouble. So we're all good guys here. We're all law-abiding citizens here. So that to the
mhm.
side, I would say it's not really much that I would say that's bad, meaning that I have to keep an open mind when I'm in a different country, right? So, it takes time for you to start speaking the language, understanding the country, to call out what's bad, and that may be on a level that's out of your hands. It might be political, it might be government, it may something be bigger. That kind of stuff you don't want to talk about what's bad, if that makes any sense at all. You want to keep that to yourself.
It does. So now, should brothers travel alone or in a group to Russia, Donald? What's best in your opinion?
Uh, I always tell gentlemen to get the full grasp of being in a country. You travel by yourself. Um, you travel with your buddy. You travel with your buddy. Self check. You guys want to have a good time. You guys want to drink. You guys want to let loose a little bit. You want to go see all these places together since you don't have a girl. Just self check. Just make sure he's not acting crazy, and make sure you're not acting crazy. Make sure the buddy system. You go out, you get out together, you come back together. You try to talk to the girls together, go see places together. That's you and your buddy. I always suggest, because I got over here, I came alone. These different places, I would go alone first to go meet girls. So I've always been a lone wolf. So I can I can I can become a chameleon and sort of adapt to being in the culture a lot faster without any extra outside influence from the same place I'm from in the West. So for me, I enjoy traveling alone so I can go meet these girls alone. My buddy is not going to help me. I don't need my buddy's help. So sometimes, I do make these trips alone. But for you guys, you can travel with a buddy. There's no harm in that. Just make sure that you got to self check your buddy. You know, and he self checks you. You guys come here to have a good time. It's not like Colombia. You don't have to worry about girls putting stuff in your drink. So let me watch my buddies drink and all that. Nothing like that. But when you do come alone, you will make friends if you smile and you have that energy that you want to meet people. You're gonna meet friends. You're gonna meet Sergey, Alex, Oleg. They're gonna ask you to come out again tomorrow. He's gonna introduce you to girls. Like you're gonna meet some buddies. And the only way sometimes you can do that is when you're by yourself.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. So, Donald, right? Overall, what do you rate Russia as out of 10? And tell me why. Is it 5 out of 10, 8 out of 10, whatever your rating is? Tell me why.
Um, so I keep my visas short going there for some of the reasons that I listed earlier. And you know, they let me in, which is cool, but I keep my visa short, and I don't invest in property there. You know, and so I would give it like a 6 out of 10. Now, the only reason I give it a six is or a seven, it would only be for two things: the women, the freedom. Like, of course, you're going to get in trouble, but you feel very free and free of crime, free of threats, free of racism. Those freedoms outweigh the freedom that's taken if you F up. Okay. So those freedoms are very important. So those freedoms feel very, very good. And then it helps your confidence every day. If you're making some money, you feel like you're making above a lot of people around you. You're gonna be making probably above a lot of people that you see day to day. Okay. Those things in date life makes it a 6. Okay. So you don't have to be in the city center. You can always be in a smaller region. You know, it's just different. It's different than being in the city, like where you can be in the city where you have lots of activity. But I give that country a 6. Only, and that's the reason why I spend shorter periods of time there than I do in other countries. You know, I give it a good solid 6. Okay, 6 out of 10. It's a beautiful country. It is the motherland. It's everything. It's a lot better than I assumed it would be, and it's a lot better than I was taught that it was. So it's beyond that. But once I've got over here to Eastern Europe, and I've lived in Ukraine, I've lived in Moldova, I've lived in Poland, I've lived in these countries, and I spent some time over there. I'm like, okay, boom. I know which ones are the best for me, my lifestyle. And I meet all these Russian people. I meet a lot of Russian guys and Russian women in these other countries, in Ukraine, in these. So it's not like I'm far from Russian. Like I see them more, and I talk their language and talk to them more than I do any other country outside of Ukraine. I spend a lot of time with Russians, so it's not like I'm far or separated from them in any way, except for by land. So I'd give it a 6. A long answer, but I'd give it a 6 for me.
Okay.
Above
Awesome,
average.
brother.
That's above
Awesome.
average. It's above average. Like I'd probably lived there before Colombia and certain other places, right? Like if I was just to be listing places. So it's a 6.
Okay. So, Donald, right? Let's talk about Russian women. Okay.
Mm.
Now, I'm going to ask you the most important question in the history of mankind, Donald, right? It's a question that is so pure and potent, it can turn water into wine and vice versa. It's a question, brother, that's so powerful, it can cause volcanoes, earthquakes, right? Tornadoes, tsunamis. It's a question so powerful, brother, it can bring about world peace all around the world. It's a question so well known that even aliens in outer space in Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, etc., even know of this question, bro. It is the question of the millennium. Okay. The question for you, Donald, is: are Russian women checking heavy for black men and passport bros? Break it down for me, bro.
Checking heavy.
Mm,
So checking heavy, I would say if you have a certain look, they'll be checking heavy.
okay.
If you have a above average look and above average aura energy, above average handsomeness, they are checking for you. You will be called pretty. You will be called all those words that are feminine words in the West, but common words in the East, even from men. You will be called kursiva, which is a beautiful word for women. You know, they don't have words like handsome. So if you're above average, they're checking for you. If you're average, not that they're checking for you, but somebody's gonna find you. Not that you're gonna find somebody. I'm saying you're gonna have women and you're gonna have somebody that's gonna find you. If you're average. If you're above average, they're checking for you. If you're average, they'll find you. Now you got to get out your flat. Average guy got to get out the flat, be social. Because below average Russian guys have good looking women. So you're gonna have a check next to you being from the West. You're gonna have a check for you having dark skin. What you don't want to be having to check is, does he stink? Is he ugly? Does he dress well? Like you don't want more checks on this negative side. So that's why I tell you gentlemen all the time, be aware, be conscious. That's the first time they see you. Some of us, they checking for it. Some of y'all got to be found. You got to be found walking through the mall. You got to be found at the cafe on a certain night that she was there. So you want to increase your odds of being checked for. I can't preach that enough, gentlemen. Yes, they checking for black men. Some black men they find. Some black men they just don't look at. They see you one time, but you want that double look.
Is there a certain type of look they like amongst black men? The hip hop look, or black man in a suit look, black man in brown chinos, and and a white tee look?
So the Russian men over here, they wear all kinds of clothes and they still have women. Okay, so there's not a stigma that you have to dress a certain kind of way. There's Russian men that wears the athletic gear. They don't have to be mobsters, they just relaxed. So then you have the guys who wear what they wear because they're very, Russian. They work at the factory, they work somewhere, they wear what they wear. You got guys in suits and stuff. As a black man, now have your hair cut. Like if you're tall, you're gonna win. If you're built, you're gonna win. If you're handsome, you're gonna win. No matter what you're wearing, they're gonna think it's fashionable. So for you guys who may not be tall, who may not put time in the gym, who may not have a nice, good, fresh cut or a lined up beard or a dyed beard, whatever you got, I'm telling you to get that ready before you go. Like I don't know how else to. I've talked to different gentlemen who've called me up and said, "Hey man, I want to go to here and next year and all that." I say, "Okay, well you got a year before you get there. Okay, act like the women do if they got a year before they get married." How do they act? They at the gym. They lying. We know they lying. We know it's just 1 year of fakeness, but they at the gym. They trying to eat right. They trying to do, or what does the lady do before spring break? What all girls do before spring break, right? They try to get in the bathing suits. They start looking good. They start working out. What do they do when they break up with your ugly self, right? They start looking good. So you got to do that when you're making preparation to going to Russia. When you're making preparation to go on this trip, you want to change some of the habits and the way you was looking, acting, dressing, talking in the West. The way you was doing it in the West wasn't working. You want to bring it over here? So I tell you to make a slight change before you come. Fake it for them. Meaning that you worked on yourself. You got a couple of shirts you're gonna wear, a couple of jackets. You got it planned out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you wanna be above average, gentlemen, because they checking for some of us. I talked to a few dudes who live over here, who take care of themselves, who got money, who take care of themselves, who got their business, they dress well. They go to these countries, they hit and they batting 1,000. They batting 1,000. Then I talk to the ones, man, I've been here for 3 months, man, I ain't got none, man. Zero. What am I doing wrong? Right? So you're gonna appear on certain people's radar. Like I know that. I know when I dress certain ways. Like I went to a 90s party last night. I didn't dress like the 90s, man. I knew what I was supposed to dress like, but you wasn't gonna get me to come up in there dressed like I'm in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? So I had on the nice slacks, the brown pants, the belt, the sweater with the shirt under it. I was looking too debonair, but that's who I am. And now I'm getting the kind of women I get because of how I dress. I wasn't gonna get out there doing it. So sometimes you have to be looking different to certain people. For some of you guys who traveling, if you want to come over here with the backpack on, throw your t-shirt and your jeans on, you're gonna find somebody too. They're at the hostel. They got the people walking around at the hostels, the students or whatever. You're gonna find them. You're gonna find a girl that's gonna be into you. But if you want to have a variety of women, you want to be above average, you want to be checked out, make sure you come prepared, gentlemen. That's all I'm gonna say.
Awesome, brother. So how beautiful are Russian women, right? Are they really as beautiful as the media says they are, brother? Do you rank them as top 5 beautiful women that you've seen in the entire world. How beautiful are they, bro? On average.
Yeah, I put them top five. I mean, only because like I've been aware of the Russian women way back in the '80s when the Wall Street guys in New York they wanted Russian women. When Trump was chasing Russian women, Ivanka. When everybody, I mean, you wanted a Russian woman if you was a businessman. So I know in our movies they was hating on the Russian men. We was shooting them, but the women they was always on a businessman's arm. So I've always found an affinity and some lust for Russian women. But I'll tell you that yeah, they're very very beautiful women. Like to experience it firsthand has been an experience that I continue to indulge in. Like I continue to talk to Russian women. I enjoy Russian women for their beauty. They're on par with Ukrainian women. Like it. I know a lot of Russian men do like Ukrainian women, but for the most part, when it comes to Eastern European women, the Russian woman is going to be like your first taste. That's always been like the first taste of the West of the Russian women, not Belarusian women, not Polish women, not Ukrainian women. It was Russian women. So they're very beautiful gentlemen. If you go to Russia and you're there for 30 days, you will find a lot of beautiful women that you deem very, very beautiful and out of your league. But based on how you carry yourself and based on how you present yourself, they are within your league.
Amazing, amazing, brother. Tell me about the personality of the average Russian woman, right? Um, is it feistiness, like Latina woman, or is it more calm down? Tell me the personality of the average West woman, brother. Sorry, Russian woman.
Okay, so you were going in and out a little bit. I want to make sure it's not me as well. So the Russian woman personality is very submissive, very very sweet, very nice, very very welcoming. They're gonna be interested on why you're here, what's your name. If you get the eye contact, which I always tell you first, guys, you're gonna get that first. You're gonna get some strong eye contact. Once you get the strong eye contact, just go over and say what you have to say in whatever language you know, right? So they're gonna be very welcoming. You're not gonna get um, the cold roadblock or the shield that the Western woman put up. You're going to see once again, that's another layer when it comes to women, how you're going to be less defensive because you're ready to react to or shelter yourself when she says no, but you're going to get so many green lights, so many open gestures that you can make, okay, that's what's going to mess up your game is the fact that she's giving you the free lights, the free roam to just run down the highway and introduce yourself. Like that's what's gonna mess up your game. Is that man? She's being sweet. She's giving me eye contact. She's smiling. She said her name Irina 3 times to make sure I got it. I messed it up 3 times. She giggled. That ain't happening in the West. So these kind of receptions that you get from different females or different women that you're interested in is gonna blow your mind away.
Amazing, brother. Amazing. So, brother, let me ask this right. So, finding wifey in Russia, okay? How do we find wifey in Russia? Where do we go to? Is it the library? Is it, the park? How do we find and spot wifey in Russia, brother?
So you won't go to the library because you can't read those words. So you will find her in the park. Man, you will find your wife in a lot of places. You will find your wife when you go to the store, you grab your basket and you want to get a couple things. You're trying to focus because you can't find red beans and black beans to go with what you want to make. But that girl comes walking by smelling so good with her hair so low, just dragging down her back, the prettiest face. And then another one. And then like this, you fall like sometimes you fall in love on your own. There's no interaction with the woman. You fall in love back to back to back. Like man, wow. But you can find your wifey really with the women that you find attractive that talks to you. I'm telling you, it's that easy, gentlemen. If you find her attractive and she talks to you, meaning that she gives you back, she gives you back communication. You're talking to her, you got her name, then you was like, hey, you have an Instagram, you use Instagram, your Telegram, boom, she put your number in there. Man, it's all up to you, gentlemen, meaning that she's receptive and she wants to know you. She's open to the communication. She's open to your vibe. It's her first time. Doesn't matter if she wants to practice English. Like, that's a potential. So I'm just telling you, like, if you have the access for her to be a home run, you have the access for her to be your wife, if that's what you're looking for. So we're speaking about wives. Gentlemen, you can come here to Moscow or to Russia, Petersburg. You can come to any country, any city, major city in Russia, and you can find your wife.
Amazing. So, brother, cold approaching, right? Okay. How do we cold approach out there in Russia? Right? Is it like a very direct? I want your number. I think you look beautiful. Or do you have to have game in your cold approach? What's cold approach method there?
Very cold approach. Ice cold approach. The city's cold. Everything's cold. Your approach should be cold blooded. Direct. Once you get the eye contact, it's just direct. Just walk over and talk to her. You don't have to say, what are you drinking? You don't have to say none of that. You just go over and say, Coxaboo, what's your name? It's been in the ear, like, get in the ear. Speak English. Just go. The cold approach. It gets worse sometimes if a guy is there, he knows you, he's going to introduce you to girl. I got introduced to women last night that was introduced to me by other women and other guys. Like, you got to know this guy. Do you know Donald? Do you know Donald? So here, Anna, here's Maria. Like, boom, boom, boom. Here's new girls right here. Here's another Adina. Damn, my fifth Irina on my phone. Right? So you're going to be introduced. It's cold approach. This girl's going to come to you like, you don't dance. Like, you dance. Like, come dance because you're black. Everybody's asking me to dance. From the moment I got there, when I ordered before I could order my beer, I was being pulled. I was like, nah, let me have my beer first. Man, my beer. There's other girls here I'm here to talk to. It's somebody else I like. If somebody else just walked in, like, I'm not supposed to be on the dance floor because I mean I got to dance with all y'all. Plus, man, I'm too cool. Like, man, I'm not. So that kind of attention that you get, come on, gentlemen. The cold approach works. The cold approach works because they looking at you, they paying attention to you. Like, if the club is 70% girls, you don't understand how many girls are watching me talk to different girls. How many girls be watching you? So the cold approach, you might as well get talking to everybody. Get to remembering all these names. The cold approach. Once you get the eye contact, just come up and say hello. You don't know how many cheeks I kissed. If the music's loud, great. They gotta bend down. They gotta bend down closer to talk to you. I'm right up on their ear, nibbling on their earlobe, smelling their hair. I know what I'm doing. The cold approach. It's more than just cold. I touched their back. It's getting warm now. I'm in their ear. I found out her name is Antonina. It was a strange long name, Antonina. I was like, man, that's different. Antonina, it was a long name. I'm touching the lower back, nibbling on the ear when I talk to her, practicing my Ruski. The cold approach. Man, y'all tripping. It's I'm trying to give y'all, I'm in the fields, man. I'm trying to tell y'all, like, the cold approach is the coldest thing over here, because if you looking good and carry yourself a certain kind of way, it ain't cold, it's hot, baby. I'm coming in hot. The cold approach is when you looking like an immigrant. You looking like somebody. The cold approach is when you look like you just got off the you look like you just got off the boat and you haven't even put your bag down yet. Don't come talking to me, man. Like, but if you prepared, you come out looking the way you look, you know all the Russian men, they got their style, they dance, they do what they do, but I got my style. Okay, so that cold approach, I'm coming in hot. I'm looking good, smelling good. They've been waiting for me to get out here. So yes, gentlemen, you guys got to practice that. I know everybody's not me. I know everybody's not comfortable, but you have to learn. Like I say, gentlemen, if you know you're going to Russia, certain things you got to change. I need to change where I dress. I need to change where I look. I need to change my cold approach. I need to change my confidence. I need to change my walk a little bit. I need to change my budget. This is my 30 days.
Awesome, bro. Awesome.
All right,
So,
I thought I
Donald,
was you for a second.
Donald. So, next question for you, right, is now, aside from the parks, right, where can you meet wifey in Russia?
Oh man, I'm sorry. I must have stopped. I must have went on a tangent. My wifey, I meet at the gym. Like, okay, I told you on the Patreon the other day. So when I always tell you, gentlemen, anytime you guys talk to me, I do my daily gyms at the in no matter what city I'm in. So even in Russia, you can meet your wife at the gym. Just like the when you talk to the Dominican girl, you ask her where could guys from the West expats or passport bros meet hot girls. She said the hottest girl's gonna be at the sports club. They had a different name for it. Once again, coming from a girl's mouth, the sports club, because you have high caliber girls who are willing to pay 500 a year to bid this place, but you walking around a bunch of girls who can't afford that. So when you walk up in the gym, you got the high caliber girls that are up in there, from the shape of their bodies to their careers. Now, boom, once they know your name, guess what? You just got a plethora of girls that's on this level right here. Next to the girls you walk and see at the park, you see at the store, you got a high level of girls that are walking and they're in the sports club. And they look good and they work on themselves and they care about themselves. They're ambitious like that. Do you want that as your girl? But then go there. Okay, so you want to find wifey? Make sure you're at the sports club. Now, I can find wifey walking through the store. My lust factor sometimes be on 100. So I'm lusting after every woman up in here that's looking great over 18, 19, 20, all the way down to the moms, the 55-year-old girl that's really, really coming in with the high heels after work, looking great, fit, shapely, got the Lexus outside. I'm looking at her too. So I, certain times, yeah, you can find wifey in anybody, no matter where you are. The park, the store, walking into your flat, definitely at the cafes because they want to go there and relax, sing karaoke, potentially at the disco. Last night was 90s night at the disco. Like every girl in there is not 304. Like I'm looking for 304s, but then I'm over trying to talk to the hot lawyer, so I can't be really, you know, so you can find wifey anywhere. You can find wifey when you go walk into the museum. You can find wifey going across the street, asking for directions. Because if they're pretty, remember, gentlemen, always ask for directions. It's always gonna be girls walking by you. You gotta ask for directions. Y'all, I'm giving y'all too many tips, man. Y'all not gonna find wifey if you come over here sucking on your thumb like you do in the West, playing with your neighbor, hoping sucking on your thumb, playing with your neighbor, hoping you don't get a no. Like you got to come over here with the big smile and have a little bit of, like the dude told me last night, charisma. Like Mikey has charisma, he has auras, he has charisma. He danced with all the girls. One of the girls sent me a video tonight of my homeboy out dancing because he'll do that. He'll old white dude, 57 years old, but he get out there with the same. He wore the same cowboy hat every night. But he out there, he got more girls at his table than y'all had all year. And that's the charisma. That's because he ain't afraid to talk to him. When I went to his Christmas party, he had a whole bunch of women there because he ain't afraid to talk to him. His charisma sells. And another man told me that last night hugging me. That's what happens on Russian women. If that makes any sense, your charisma will do a lot more for you than so. I'm just giving y'all game, man. You can find wifey anywhere. It's gonna come from your charisma, though. You gotta strip down that onion and how you act, how you carry yourself, and then be open because you're gonna be meeting some real nice women. And you be inviting them out. Hey, can I see you tonight? Invite them dinner. Invite them to the cafe. These girls gonna start liking you. They gonna start liking you, even if you ugly. You Pookie, okay, Pookie, but you got the passport, Pookie. You over here, straighten up, Pookie, for 30 days. You can find a wife.
Amazing, brother. Amazing. So, brother, let me ask this right. So, brother, so feminine, right? Would you say the average Western woman is feminine?
Very.
Awesome.
Very. I use the word. I use the word when I'm talking to them. I'll be telling them when I text them, when I be talking to them, certain actions they have. I tell them. I like the way you did that. I like the way you move your hair on there. I like the way you were doing this. I like the way you. I tell them all the time. They always get their nails done. They always. I get pictures all the time. Soon as they get their nails done, I get these text messages and shit. Excuse me, text messages. Like I love that. But they be like letting me know, hey man, I just got to look at the color, and I got, oh baby, that looks so good. Oh, those are nice, baby. I can't wait to kiss your hand. Man, I don't care, but that's that femininity, right? So I like that. And so it shows every day when you go out, you go to see all the Russian women, how they dress, the dress code, all these Russian women, you're like, man, wow, man. That's what's gonna throw you gentlemen off. Because in the West, only certain women dress a certain kind of way. But when you see a lot of women dress like that, you get to have these mixed signals in your head, but you can't go talking to them like they 304s. You know, but man, she dressed like, man, but they're beautiful and speak a different language and giving you eye contact. And let me go here and rub her shoulder when I go get a drink. Let me go get a drink next to her. You know, like that happened. Oh yeah, I can give you guys story after story, but I don't want to get in trouble. Yeah, it's very easy, gentlemen.
So, brother, let me ask this right. So, now, brother, tell me 5 things you love about Russian women.
Oh man, I'm a big lover of the eyes. I love eyes, man. You know, chat, and members can say, man, this dude crazy, man. He be living in Ukraine. He be living in Eastern Europe so much. He be praising the white women. Nah, man. if y'all knew, if y'all knew, man, like I got options, man. I've had Mexican women. I spent time in South America. I stayed there for 3 months. I'll be doing what I'll be doing. But this is where I live at. This is my preference. I like drinking water. I don't like Coca-Cola. I don't like Sprite. I drink a lot of water. You know what I'm saying? When I'm not drinking vino, wine, I drink water. That's my preference. That's what I survive on. Okay. So over here, I survive off Russian women, Ukrainian women. This is what I survive on. This is my gasoline. This is my currency over here. So my appreciation of their beauty would always start with, I love their eyes. Very beautiful women. I like dating women with very beautiful eyes. I call them sea blue eyes. They love that. I always say sea blue. What's up, sea blue? Why you always say? I said the Red Sea because the Mediterranean Sea has 9 different blues, but the Red Sea, right around Egypt, right around there, it has like 13 different blues in the water. But y'all ain't been to Egypt, so y'all don't know. But these girls who've been to Egypt, they be like, you know what? You're right. It's multiple blues in Egypt water than it is Mediterranean. Like it's not the ocean, it's the sea. Johnny, where you get this? Your analogies? Yeah, I have analogies for their eyes. I love their eyes. I love the fact that you can pull their hair. You can't pull Keisha's hair. I love the fact that we can jump in the pool. We can take a shower together. So hair is a factor in my life. I'll be laying on hair, pushing hair, trying to put it. Oh, I accidentally hit your hair. Laying on this. Oh, I actually pulled your hair. Accidentally pulled your hair. But they're not mad like Keisha. Don't come off. I like that. I gotta sit in salons with my girls while they get their hair done. It takes hours for them to play with all that hair. I love that beautiful hair. You guys having a woman with long, long hair, it's a luxury. Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm not praising nothing on any woman. I just love a woman with long hair, man. That's just me. Beautiful eyes and long hair. I love their submissiveness, man. Their femininity, their submissiveness. Very submissive women. We talked about it on Patreon. Unless you're married to one, expect her to be submissive. Now, once you get married to one, gentleman, the ties may change based on you. Your testicles might shrivel having a woman that beautiful that runs the house or that runs you. But I do notice sometimes when they're wives, they're a little bit more aggressive towards their man. So I love keeping them at girlfriend levels. So I get nothing but submissiveness. So I got submissive Russian women. I like that. Now, man, when it comes to bedtime, gentlemen, I can't complain. Russian women have been very, very pleasurable to me, have given me everything I've asked for. I don't get no's. I get, do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want that? There's only 3 places I can go, and I get all 3. So I enjoy the submissiveness from that level, is that no does not exist in the bedroom. So that's 5 right there. I can give you 5. Like, and I can go on with the fact that there's certain Russian women that, they don't cost me a dime. It don't cost me. I mean, y'all. Some of y'all got red light district. I'm gonna get red light district questions. I'm gonna get all these questions, but I'm saying it don't cost me a dime, gentlemen. Like it just sometimes you if you live here and you're here, gentlemen, what things cost in the West does not cost you over here. Some things shouldn't cost a man. That should be just a human reaction, a human interaction. And sometimes over here in Russia, you can have human interactions that don't cost you a dime. I'll say that.
So, brother, tell me 5 things that you don't like about Russian women.
5 things I don't like.
Yeah.
I've seen a bunch of pretty old women, but I never see any pretty grandmas. Babushkas don't be pretty. I mean, American women sometimes, you know how it is. They can do what they can to try to be a pretty grandma, but so but they sweet. They just super sweet. But that's just a man being a man. Like, man, this is this the end right here. I gotta let you go at 58. You know what I'm saying? If this the end, I gotta let you go at 50. You know what I'm saying? Like, but so it's not that I don't like that because they're very sweet. I got some babushkas that I really, really love, and they've been around a long time. So you can't be hating on these babushkas, these old ladies over here, because they've been through the communist days. They've been through a lot of stuff. But what I wouldn't like, I guess, how their attitude changed once they get married, man. Now I know there's some successful men that put this on what I do like. There's some successful men on the legal side and the illegal side, and they have very good wives who are down. So I've seen that, and I like that. But as for the average guy, yeah, man, some of these wives, man, they run the house with an iron fist, and that that's something I see across the board. So you just want to be careful with that. Not that she's challenging you that, but make sure you stay in your lane and keep on doing. They do want a man who's ambitious. If they don't get that, divorces are up. There are a lot of Russian women who are divorcing their men more than they have in the past. And Putin has spoke on that. I spoke of it lightly on the Patreon. And one of the main reasons with the men were not being ambitious enough. And not every man is at the house drinking and giving up. After he leaves the factory, he don't do nothing. But a lot of men don't. They don't have the hobbies that American men do. American men may have boats, hobbies, football, basketball. We have sports. We got friends. We got, sometimes in the West we got football. You got soccer. You got all kind of things that some Russian men, they just got the bottle, man. Like they got the bottle and they got the house. Like they don't have the money to go be social. They don't have the money to go have a car club or a basketball club. So it's bottled up. They don't. It's different, and they may take it out on their family a little bit, or they may not be having hobbies that they can afford and that they really can enjoy and turn better at it. They don't have information like we have from the West, and they just don't have access to crypto and just certain things, Python or whatever. They just sometimes those guys have just been sort of lost. They're in a generation where they didn't have much access. So wives do sometimes get mad at them. Okay, so I've seen that. I guess I like they stay in shape. That's another thing I like. When you say dislike, I really can't find women over here. They'll have their babies and put them up in orphans before they delete them. So it's certain the culture has so many positives that it's sort of hard to say what you dislike about them. So how they look when they get really old, that's for almost any woman, I guess. But sometimes and then how they treat their men when they're married for the average man, I sort of don't like that. But other than that, that's about it. I'm not a big hater, man. You can ask me questions, and I couldn't come up with a bunch of them, IP.
So you're saying don't marry Russian women? Had them as girlfriends?
No. So each man is different, man. So like I'm giving you examples of when I see businessmen, successful men, they got great wives that are holding down the empire, and then they're also down with them like 100%. Not you got wives that are out here spending the men's money. You can see them in their cars, the nice cars. They got husbands that take care of them. That's great. But I'm saying on the lower level. Now the Nigerian guys who got wives, I don't see them running them, but I just don't see them. I see them with their daughter and their wife. I don't see anything else. Okay. But I'm saying for the average Russian guy, sometimes it seems like, but that's for the below average. The average Russian guys, they live in their life. They got the regular wives. They got I've seen a lot of older guys with younger wives. So I'm not blocking that out, gentlemen. I'm not saying that every wife is a B. I'm saying if you get a B, you should know by when she's a girlfriend. Okay, so don't marry her. But she's not gonna be taking half and all that stuff. They don't know all that kind of stuff, gentlemen. If you get your Russian wife and you're a Western man, I need to look at the divorce rates for expats with Russian women over there because they're not very high. Unless you've been over there a long time, you might be on a second wife. Because lots of Ukrainian guys are, lots of American guys here, they have kids, but they're on their, they're already done with their first Ukrainian wife. Most of the expats I know are done with their first Russian wife, first Ukrainian wife. So let that right there say enough.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. So, brother, online dating, right? Do you do that in Russia? And how's your experience been? And what apps do you recommend?
In those 30 days when I'm there, I'm on a target. So I don't allow any outside interferences with Tinder, Ukraine date, Russian date. I have never turned on my apps when I'm there. And I tell you, when I use in Moldova, I cheat when I use in certain place. Like I don't mind turning on because I know nobody's here. Nobody. So when I turn on my, that's too many people wanting me to come out. I got to go to a different spot. I got to, get out. I got a date. I got to come back and try to see my girl next day. Like, man, no. When I'm in Russia, I'm usually on a target and I don't do the dates. You guys, now listen, you guys, when you come, turn on your apps, turn them on. That's more opportunity. Right? That's just like I say, go out to the discos at night because it increases your opportunities for home run. So with the apps. Have the apps on during the day. You can hit the apps up. You can tell that's more girls you can talk to. Say, hey, can you come out here? They'll say, come to this train station, come to this subway station, meet me here at 10 or at 2 or whatever for this train station. So you're like, all right, cool. So that's up to you. You guys use your apps. I'm telling you to do it. But me personally, I don't need to because I'm chasing targets when I'm there. That's too much interference.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, bro. Got a super chat here. He says here, did you see any Latino men with Russian women?
No, no. So I've only met 2 Mexican guys. Remember, guys, I'm from Texas. So I'm Mexican. I've had experiences in Mexico, had an apartment there and everything. So I've only met 2 Mexican guys since I've been over in Eastern Europe, and they were in Moldova. And they actually flew their family. They flew their family, mom and dad and sister, to Moldova, and I think they took a trip to Russia and back. But I didn't see them there. I remember their family were here for like 2 weeks or almost a month, and they took their family through Eastern Europe and come back to Moldova. The only 2 Mexican guys I've ever met were in Moldova, and they were there to be dentists. It was 2 brothers. I've never seen anybody of Latin, and when I think they're Latin, when I think I see them Mexican, they're not a Mexican. It's Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. They're not even close. So no.
Okay, awesome. So Donald, we are at 2 hours now. I know you said you were busy.
We have a little bit more time. I'm good for you, AP.
Okay, awesome, bro. Awesome. So let me ask this right, Donald. Right. Now, obviously, dating a Russian woman is a big thing in Russia. How on average, from what you've seen and what you heard, how does her side take it that she's dating a brother, right? Are they accepting of that? Are they against that, brother? Has there been problems with that at all?
Oh no, man! I get love when I meet families. I get to go to their house. Their moms be putting out pictures, not just the girls' baby pictures. I be seeing the mom when she was young. I'm a historian. I'm a history buff. So I enjoy going to certain places, seeing the black and white photo. It says 1817, and I'd be like, wow, I know for sure nobody black was nowhere close, couldn't come here. Like, I just like history. So I get that when I go to certain girls' houses and their moms pull out their photo albums. They show them. I know babushkas. I know their moms, their grandmas. Like, I get a lot of love if I meet family. The dinner's been pulled out. Like I can do no wrong. Even when I break a heart, I can't do no wrong. Like, it's just I've been there for certain families. If the girl's been in my life, I've been there for her family before they got a chance to meet me. I was already doing something for her family. So when they met me, it was like, okay, this is the guy. So I just get more like, you gonna marry my daughter, and I gotta break their heart every time. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I get. You know what I'm saying? You gonna marry my daughter? Like you the one that's gonna marry my daughter? Like I get that more than anything. You know what I'm saying? But I get love, man. I haven't from the dad if they still with the dad. If you're not, from the grandma because they may still live there. I've got nothing but love, man. And even when I may get into it with one of the girls, it ain't. I don't have to worry about no brothers showing up or no dad showing up. Like the man is the man. The man is the man, right? So I get a lot of love, man, and I get that from girls' parents that I interact with, and also babushkas who know me, who may be like the janitor, the lady who cleans up the gym, the lady who runs this apartment. There's lots of babushkas here. So it's certain the security lady downstairs that sleeps here, that's almost here 24 hours. Like those babushkas, they be having food waiting for me and stuff. Like it's a different kind of love, man, that you'll get once you spend that more than 30-day period when you're part of the culture, then you're part of the culture.
Awesome. Thank you, bro. So, brother, let's open up the phone lines to see if anyone has any questions for you. Those are all my questions so far. Thank you, Donald. Brothers, I'm gonna put the phone lines in the live stream chat. So if you want to call in and ask Donald any questions about Russia, now is the time. Okay. So here it is. Call in, call in, call in. Awesome, bro. So, brother, now I got a question here, right? Between Ukrainian, Russian women, and Moldovan women and Ukrainian women, who are you picking and why?
Oh, Ukraine number one all day.
Why is that?
That's why I live here. To me the most beautiful, and I'm gonna stand by it 100%. They're the most beautiful girls, and the country is a good country. I mean, despite what's going on, that sense of freedom. But these beautiful girls, man, and I've had a lot of success here. So that's like the people who go to find oil, who go to certain places to find gold, and they have a lot of success. It's really hard to get them to go someplace else, right? So yeah, it's a different feeling I get here as a man. I still haven't married, but I know that my options are full. I still haven't become a father, but I know, and I talk to them every day. I got beautiful, beautiful options of baby mothers here, and just yeah, there's a lot of reasons why they're number one, man. But this is the kind of women that I enjoy, the kind of women that and once again, last time we discussed Moldova and Ukraine, Ukraine was number two in the top 20 countries with the most women. Armenia's number one, Ukraine's number two. So why wouldn't I not be here as a bachelor? Aren't I like a genius if I like women to be in a country with the most women? Even after we had 20 million people leave the country, it's in the books as the second most. Like, what's wrong with me, right? So I'm here for that, because I've settled here. I make a life here. So when I go out and I meet different women or I meet different people, at any day I'm willing to settle. I can settle. So, but Russia is right next door. I entertain a lot of Russian women, even here in this country. So I see those women, speak to those women, speak to those people more than I do even Moldova women. I just spend more time in Moldova. But there's no Moldova women in Ukraine. There's no Moldova women in Russia. But in Russia and Ukraine, there's lots of Russian women here. So I have, but Ukraine is always my favorite, Jim. That's why I live here. Black Slav.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. So we have no callers, Donald. I think let's end the stream, bro. So I want to say thank you very much, Donald, for your time. Do you have any closing comments or statements?
No, sir. No, sir. As usual, you guys can find me at Black Slav on IG. Other than that, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you guys having me. I hope I was informative and you guys enjoyed my delivery. See you again.
Thank you very much, Donald. Look after yourself, brothers. Again, the Patreon stream for this is coming out in the coming days, so make sure you join the Patreon, and of course, like the video, share around, and look out for more content like this coming very soon. Okay, thank you very much, and I'll see you, brothers, on the next.